Hey, sneak peekers, this is Trevor Liebeno. I'm at the Austin Film Festival here for the world premiere of Allman, The Music of My Soul. Where do you start with this directing process? Do you start at the beginning of their life when you start filming, start preparing the story?
Well, you start with first of all, you look at all the IP you can get your hands on, and then you read everything. It's kind of like sculpting or peeling onions. You start with the onion and you start peeling all the layers, and and the film discovers itself. But for me, I make movies where I discover things about me that I relate to that character. And so I also kind of figure, what does the audience not know about this person? What can we reveal that's very personal about this person so that you can get an insight as to how it affects your life, my life. Yeah, you could read all the stories. He did this, he did that album, he performed at Folsom, Greg, about all the different incidents that I talked about. But when you hear him talk about those things, that he's not talked about. He's a very private guy, Greg Allman. So to actually have him talking about it, he never really did until later on in his life. When he was young, no.
What did you learn about yourself from his story, and what do you hope that audiences also learn from his story?
Well, I think at the end, Greg, he has a line in the film at the end where he said, if I can save one person from the hell I've been through, this will all have been worth it. And he was talking about another line that he said, drugs and alcohol, that's all a lie. So it's not just about music, it's about being able to deal with his emotional state throughout his life, which is very important. And I discovered, there's addiction everywhere in the world, a lot of it in Hollywood and sometimes in people's personal families. So what I hope is people will watch the film, not only love his music, which is incredible, but learn something about how he beat the demon.
Is there any moment during the filming process that you didn't have information on his life that you wanted to sort of, I wouldn't say make up, but invent something, maybe a little more creative aspects in any way, no?
You know what? This guy's life, it's hard to imagine what he went through. So, making stuff up, no, I don't think so. No. A lot of times we're developing a biopic about Linda Ronstadt that I believe Selena Gomez wants to play it. We get the script right. You don't want to make stuff up about real people. Of course, nobody was there for the real dialogue that happens. You're going to have to write dialogue for the scenes. You're making it up. But the intent of those scenes has got to be pure. It's got to be to their character. And that's what's so hard about biopics. It's a lot easier I was told when we were developing Walk the Line, said, hey man, why don't you just make a movie about a guy who's an older star who got involved with painkillers and had a big music career and met this woman. I said, well, that's not John Cash. That's somebody you make up. He said, but he did say one thing that I thought was very true, and that is that it doesn't really matter about all that other stuff. What matters is does it connect with the audience? And if it doesn't, then all you got is a movie that goes and then. And without that, that's episodic and boring. To me.
And my last question for you, sir, is do you have any advice for any students, UT students, who are looking to get into maybe filming documentaries or filming in general?
What would I advise young students? Well, I would advise them to follow their dream, to never expect to make it overnight, that you never know when you're going to connect, and nobody told you had to go into this business. It's got to be a passion.
Hi, my name is Alex Komisaruk, and I was the editor and one of the producers on the documentary.
And there's a saying in documentaries that the editor is a writer. Do you agree with this sentiment?
I absolutely agree with the sentiment because especially in archival documentary like this, where a lot of it was put together with existing material, there's a sculpting of that material to put it together into a cogent, logical story. So absolutely, I think the editor, and with the director, of course, the script, the quote-unquote script, if you will, for a documentary comes out of the editing process. So I think that's the case, yes.
And was there any like sort of clip, any moment that really stuck with you throughout this filming process that you wanted to like make sure made it in like the final product of this film?
Well, actually, and I think James, because I overheard bits of his interview, but he mentioned this. It was very important for us and for James, both of us, to include the message that Greg had about, if I can save one person from the hell that I've been through, mine will not have been in vain. It was his hope he would get his message out about he had struggled with substance issues and dependencies, and so he wanted to kind of spread the word about what he had been through. Well, so that was important to us on a personal level, and then for me and for James both in another way, in a musical level, it was very important to keep the fact that he credited basically black musicians for being his teacher and learning from that history in the blues, and so it was really important to keep that in, because also that they were an integrated band in the South in an era where that was a challenging thing to do, and so it was important to keep that theme alive. And obviously, they had a black band member in the original group. They also had, lots of black musicians they work with, but there are certain issues with that we wanted to raise that, as well as obviously put out that their role in and Greg's role in American music and American quote-unquote Southern rock, and that history, that was important too, to preserve that, as well as a personal story. And we try not to shy away from certain aspects of that.
Yes, he was definitely a person with a lot of life, and he definitely had a strong personal life as well as a strong music life. How did you try and find a balance of that when editing, and what did you have to cut? What made it difficult to make for this documentary?
I'm glad you asked. So one of the things that we tried to do was basically follow the music. So as much as we could to take what he learned from and then what he turned it into and follow that story. But there were certain aspects in doing that you'd kind of have to bring in his personal life. We try not to shy away from showing the fact he had been married 7 times and had this history with addiction, and that he would share that really clearly. But we didn't want it to be in a sensationalized way, but just in a frank way, not to shy away from certain parts of that, and even the part about being on the road and not being a family man, and having his kids speak to that a little bit too. So we tried to show the truth, but honor the fact that he's passed, and we want to represent what we've come to love him. We never met it, or James did meet him, I never did, but that we've really come to value what he contributed and him as a person too. So, yeah.
Yeah, and what do you hope audiences learn from this story, his life?
I really hope that they take away, if they don't know about his music, an appreciation for what he accomplished, what the Allman Brothers as a band accomplished, and his musicianship, and also that they brought along American music and this Southern rock type of music, and so certainly that meant also, one of the things I told this to James a few times when we were working on it, I grappled originally with, he's been married 7 times, wasn't that present for his kids, but that there's this inner sensitivity and likability to him that I found while editing it, that initially I was thinking, I don't know, but I hope that people understand what he went through, and that those struggles that he went through were something he wanted to have others benefit from, and that he was also very sensitive, and these are the kinds of things I want to hope they take away the full person and what he contributed.
And my last question for you is, do you have any advice for any UT students? We're with the Texas Student Television Network. Do you have any advice for them when it comes to what like filmmaking or like even editing and producing process? Like,
Sure. My main advice, especially with editing, is to just do it and keep at it and keep pursuing opportunities that come your way. And I encourage people to work hard at it. Especially there's a big learning curve in the beginning, and so if they're interested in it, to pursue it and just don't pass up an opportunity that might come their way. So that's my advice.
hey, sneak peekers, if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment for more content. Thank you.